It's time to knit the neckband of this lovely sweater. We'll start by figuring out how many stitches we need. For the back, we have 36 stitches. And to know how many stitches we need for the front, we're going to place the front neckline edge on the knitting machine. I put the center V point on the 0 needle, and allowing my neckline to sag a bit, I take the shoulder edge of the neckline and place that on a needle also. And then I count how many needles I have in between. So I have about 35. I have 35 needles from V center to shoulder. So for my front neckline, I have in total 70 stitches. If I add that to my back, 36 stitches, it gives me 106 stitches. And now I know how many stitches I need for my neckband. I'm going to cast on my neckband using a 1x1 rib. So I'm taking my sinker plate off and putting my connecting plate on. And I'm going to proceed to arrange my needles for 1x1 rib and knit 20 rows of ribbon because I want to fold my neckband. It allows my neckband to be stretchier and last longer over multiple wear. I've got my comb in. I'm going to put my weights on and then knit 20 rows of 1x1 ribbon. Now I'm going to transfer all my stitches from my ribber to the main bed. This part I'm going to speed up. I'm going to fold my ribbon by picking up the edge of my ribbed fabric. I pick it up in sections, first the ends, then the center of the center of the sections. And I do it this way so that I will pick up evenly across the fabric edge. Now we're ready to join the body to the neckband. But first, I'm going to knit one row across to close up my neckband edge. I'm going to take my back neckline and I'm going to bring forward 36 needles in the center of my bed. So from 0 to 18 on the right and left. And I'm going to place my neckband stitches that I knit off on waste yarn on these center 36 stitches. So your neckline stitches on the back neckline edge are the last blue or black stitches that are peeking out of the pink. I'm going to pick those up onto my 36 stitches. Now that I'm done picking up, I'm going to take the waist yarn off, and that's the back neckline done. And next, I'm going to pick up my front neckline. Before I pick up my front neckline, I place my front piece against my back piece the way that it would be when it's worn. So, like this. This helps me to know which side of the front neckband I'm going to, which side of the front neckline I'm going to place along my neckband edge. Okay, so you can see placing it like this that neckband edge goes on this front neckline edge. And so I'm going to take the shoulder edge of this front neckline side and pick it up onto the needle right after my back neckline needles. And the V is going to go to the outer edge of my neckband. So that's a simple way to know how to place your front neckline onto your neckband. So I'm going to put my shoulder edge on this needle here, and I'm going to take my V neck point, my V point, and put that on the last needle on my neckband. And then I'm going to pick up the rest of the neckline edge onto those needles. The second half of my front neckline will wait until I've bound off these stitches that I have picked up because I can't stretch my sweater that far. So that's the next step. I'm going to bind off all of these stitches where I've placed the body panel on the neckband. And after I've done that, then I can go on to place the other neckline edge on the neckband. Now I'm done binding off my back and one side of my front neckline. I've attached it to the neckband, as you can see, and I'm ready to place the second half of my front neckline on the neckband. Again, I place my fabric the way it would be when it's worn, and I can immediately see that that shoulder edge goes on the rightmost needle, and then the V point goes on the outermost needle to the left. And then I can pick up the rest of my neckline edge onto my neckband. And once I've done that, again, I'm going to bind off all of the stitches. And now the neckband is complete and attached to the front and back neckline. This is how it looks. Now that we've finished knitting the neckband, the next step is to join the shoulders. When I finish the entire joining and seaming, then I'm going to sew the center V. But the next step right now is to join the shoulder. And to do that, I'm going to turn my sweater inside out. So I'm going to have the right side facing so that I'm looking at the inside of my sweater. And then I'm going to pick up the shoulder for both front and back piece onto my needles. Once I have both shoulders picked up on my needles, then just as with my neckband joining, I'm going to bind off. You have the option of knitting one row across the shoulder before you bind off. It makes the binding off process a little bit easier because your stitches aren't as bulky, but I skip that step usually and just bind off straight away once I have both shoulders picked up on my needles. I'm done binding up the shoulder seam, and this is how it looks on the inside and on the outside of my work. I'm going to put this away and then show you a better view of how my shoulder seam looks. So here's how it looks. You can see that slant that we created when we shaped the shoulder, and I'm going to do the same thing for the second set of shoulders. And once I finish that, it'll be time to attach the sleeve to the body and seam the underarms and down the sides of the body. Here's the second shoulder seam. And now it's time for us to join the sleeve to the body and finish off this beautiful sweater. To join the sleeve to the body, I lay my sweater flat and then fold my sleeve and take the center point of my top sleeve edge and pin it to the shoulder seam. Then I pin the edge of my sleeve at the armpit to the body at the armpit. And then I align the sleeve edge to the armhole edge and pin along that edge. This way, when I go to sew, I'm sewing evenly along that edge. The other thing that this does for you, if you spin it out like this, is you could join on your knitting machine if you don't have a sewing machine. The same way that we picked up the shoulders and then put it on the needles and knit one row or not, and then bound off. It's that same way that you could pick up these edges, put them on your knitting machine, and bind off to join your sleeve to the body. But I like to use a sewing machine because I find that it's faster and it still gives me a neat finish. On my sewing machine, I'm going to sew using a zigzag stitch along the edge that I've pinned. I'm going to do this for this sleeve, and I'm going to repeat the exact same process for the second sleeve. And once I've joined the sleeve, then the remaining steps are to sew, just like this also, along the edge under the sleeve and down the sides of the sweater. And our sweater is almost ready. The last bit of work, which I'm not going to show you guys here, is to weave in all the loose ends. I'll show that in a separate video. Thank you for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave a comment.